What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining me. Wanted to take you through a little bit of a track breakdown of my track Waning Moon, which is a trance track that's getting a lot of love and a lot of attention on SoundCloud and some other places. Today I'm focusing on the melodic elements, the atmospheric and the melodic components of this track, and how I put those together, what my creative thinking was. So we're going to start with these main melodic elements here. Let's actually start with this lush pad. So you can hear it's beautiful, gorgeous sound. You hear the LFO, the sidechain from the kick on there. Got a high pass. The main thing that I'm doing here creatively is the endless smile, putting it at 85%. Without the endless smile, it sounds like this. So I just really liked the notes. I liked the chords and the harmonics of that. But you can hear it's more of like a vintagey, retro, kind of distorted type of sound. I wanted to take that and just make it more trancey by washing it out a little bit, widening it, making it more dreamy and ethereal. And so that's the effect that the endless smile has. Next atmospheric element would be this synth pad here. Also sounds beautiful. The only thing that I did here was some high passing, because if you listen to this without the high passes, you're going to hear this bass line. Which is really nice, but it was going to clash for sure with my actual bass line and the actual chord progression in the track. So just cut out the low end, made sure there was almost no trace of that low end, and I wanted to retain those mids and highs, those stabbing or plucking sounds. Really nice sound there to add. Third atmospheric element would be this synth loop from PML. So the main thing here is I put this LFO. If I just play the loop by itself without the LFO processing, it sounds like this. And that sounds great. With the LFO, it sounds like this. So essentially, I'm just creating a different syncopation pattern on it. On those transients, I have this LFO. I have half. It's a rate of 1/2 instead of 1/4, and then I have a swing on it. So the swing kind of delays and then speeds up the actual application of the LFO. I just thought that made it a really good fit for this track. Both versions are great, but for this application, I thought it was perfect. Just created an interesting syncopated vibe, but also melodic at the same time. Next element would be this this surrender lead from Oliver. So actually, let me play the original raw sample for you. So it's really nice, pretty lo-fi kind of vibe. A little bit too chill, though. I wanted to make it a little bit higher energy and also just bigger and more dreamy and more ethereal to go with the vibe of this track. So this is the first instance of this sample in the track. It's coming in during this breakdown section. Essentially all I did is just put this endless smile on it, put some Valhalla reverbs, Valhalla Supermassive on it with a delay. And then we got the LFO, standard LFO on the quarter, and then increase the gain a little bit. Also, what I did when I used this sample in other moments in the track is I pitch it up an octave. So here, as you can see, I pitched this up 1 octave, and I'm also adjusting the formants in different ways. So in this instance, I have the formants down here at 36, here way down at 7. So it's just creating interesting textures, and by repeating this same sample, but just at different octaves with different formants throughout the track, it's like a callback for the listener. So the listener kind of is familiar with that sound, but it's also executed a little bit differently. Another good thing about pitching stuff up an octave is so I probably, if I recall, I probably played this during this drop along with all the other elements, and it was probably like too muddy, too many sounds on top of each other. You pitch it up an octave, it's retaining the same character of the sound, but it just gets out of the way a little bit. So this is what it sounds like pitched up. And then again, here's with different formants. So just really nice, like it sounds like some kind of alien communication signal from another galaxy. You know, it's just like creating this interesting emotional addition to all the other elements in this track. One last atmospheric element that I'm going to show you is this vocal. In a lot of my tracks, I have a lot of vocal samples. In this one, just this one vocal one shot. Sounds like this. So again, I have Endless Smile on it, and I'm also sending a lot of these to this return track, which has even more Endless Smile. So for even more reverb and delay and washout effect, but it's just it's not affecting the dry signal as much. In this case, I wanted to put the Endless Smile right on the channel, right on the dry signal, wash it out. Without the Endless Smile and without the LFO, it sounds like this. Which sounds beautiful, but it was just going to be too much in your face. A lot of times with vocal samples, because the human ear just naturally gravitates towards vocal samples when it hears a human voice, a lot of times it has a lot of character, and so that's going to take attention away from the other main elements of the track. Now, in this case, the vocal is just a background element. It's not a lead attention-grabbing element. It's not supposed to be that. So I wanted to wash these out to make sure that it wasn't grabbing attention from the other components. So this is what it sounds like all together in this section. So you can see it just adds some extra harmonics, just a little bit there in the background to reinforce the vibe. A little bit more, same idea here during the drop. Just literally let it play out, you know, just let it play out on its own volition, basically, and add to the harmonics and add to the energy in that moment. Last thing is I have just a very small touch of LFO, just a small dip to create a sidechain effect, just a little bit of that pulsing vibe. So those are the main atmospheric elements in the track. Now let's look at the lead melodies, or the lead melody at least. So essentially I have two main layers right here of the lead pluck. We have this one. So this provided a little bit of low end or low mids in the pluck. And also I do a couple things processing here. I have this high pass, which kind of contradicts what I just said, but it works, because you don't want too much in the low end that's going to make too much congestion, especially because I have so many elements on top of each other. But even with this high pass, you're still going to feel a little bit of that deeper or more low end or low mid aspect of this pluck. It's just not going to be as intense in terms of mixing. So it won't be as problematic mixing wise. I put this sausage fattener, pretty high intensity on the sausage fattener. This does kind of what it sounds like. It just fattens the sausage. It makes compresses the signal, boosts it, saturates it. I had to reduce the gain after this processing on this. But add the fatness, add the color. This is what it sounds like without sausage fattener. And with it, so it's distorting it a little bit, but in a good way, making it thicker, making it more in your face. I'm also doing some processing on Serum, just playing with the filter resonance, and then also with the portamento time, just increasing or decreasing that at various moments as the bars go by. So, for example, if I play this section and just look at the resonance dial here. So it just creates a little bit of that squelching, squeaking effect, a little bit like a touch of acid, you could say. All of this together just makes the melodies or the plucks just more dynamic, adds more interest so that there's movement as the track goes on. And then essentially I'm just copy and pasting this same exact pattern on the portamento time here on this second layer of the pluck, and then on the filter resonance, same thing. I just have a different synth on this second layer. So the second layer sounds like this. Also put sausage fattener on that. And it just really amps up the energy. So this is more of this layer is more like mids and highs, and the first layer is more mids and lows, sort of, kind of, but they go well together, I think. Then the third major layer here is going to be this. I'm replicating the exact same notes on the lead, playing this on a third synth, a different synth sound. But the main change here is going to be the delay on this channel with wetness at 100%. And so that basically removes the transient. So when the main lead plucks are hitting, this third layer is not hitting along with them. Rather, it's hitting slightly after they hit. And there's also some extra feedback on this delay. So it's going to create this really cool echoing effect, which I thought was really awesome. So this is what this is what this layer sounds like by itself. And also this is what you hear in this like breakdown section of the track as well. That's where it first comes in. kind of, subtly comes in there in this breakdown or semi-breakdown section, foreshadowing the main lead. And I thought that was a really cool phenomenon where when we are first introduced to the main lead melody in like a real way, because there's hints of the lead melody back here. So like we're hearing a little bit, but it's very washed out. And then when the drop hits, it just disappears completely. So all of our attention just goes to the bass line in that moment. So we hear a little bit of the melody. The melody is essentially previewed back here during this build section, right into the first drop. And then in the breakdown, leading into the last drop, that's where the melody starts to come back again and again with more intensity and more intensity, except this time it's also, with this delay, we don't know quite exactly where those transients are supposed to hit. Are they supposed to hit like right on the beat, or are they supposed to be off the beat? What are they supposed to do? And then it turns out actually the main lead layers are hitting on the beat, right? But there's also this extra echo element on top of that that's like further reinforcing the lead melody after those transients. So it sounds altogether like this. You can hear that little echoing effect on that last layer. And again, it's a different synth, so it has a different flavor and a different texture to it. So yeah, those are the main elements there. The last little bit I had to squeeze in, couldn't resist. I had to squeeze in one last little counter melody or whatever, however you want to think about it. And this is this fourth layer. And by the way, you can ignore these bass. The word bass is, none of these are bass synths. I just kind of derived them from the bass. So it's like copy and pasting. So ignore the labeling. But this was the last layer. And in the second half of the final drop, I just wanted to add one more component that just further enhanced the energy and the intensity of the moment. So it sounds like this. So it's kind of like a semi-arpeggio, I guess you could say. But because I knew that there was extra space, if you notice, like even just looking at it visually, you can tell that there's like extra space here where I could squeeze in one more little melodic element for further intensity and further excitement. And so that's what I tried to do here. And they also overlap, these extra notes overlap sometimes with the lead. I think with this second layer here. Yeah, this one. That note there. So pay attention to that when I play So that extra, like that extra note there just really takes it to that crescendo, which I thought was perfect for the energy that I was trying to create. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's creating this really dreamy and ethereal, washed out atmospheric bed, like this foundation. And then on top of that foundation, you have all these cool melodic plucks. That's something I've noticed, by the way, like I can make a really great track when basically I have a combination of sustained sounds with plucky sounds. And so like if I have a sustained pad, I want to have like plucky lead melodies on top of that. Or vice versa, if I have, let's say, like a background arpeggio, which I also have earlier in the track here. I have some arpeggio, just not in this one, but just as I'm kind of introducing the track, coming into the intro, just adding a little bit of this interest. So it's just kind of introducing us to the rhythm and the groove and building up the energy. But if I have like a background ARP, then I can have like a more sustained lead synth, essentially, that's taking the listener's attention. But you can't really have like lots of sustained stuff that's grabbing attention on top of each other, or lots of plucks on top of each other. You have to maintain that balance. So anyway, really enjoyed making this track, and I'm really grateful to everybody that's enjoying it, listening to it. Thank you so much for supporting me and supporting what I do. It's really awesome to see people vibing with this stuff. Hope that was beneficial. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you want to check out the track or listen to the whole thing, it's in the link is in the description below, to SoundCloud, Spotify, and other places, and also my Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram for more updates and just to get a sense of what I have going on in music. But that's pretty much it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you soon.